Check head coach Geoff Collins as we prepare for Saturday's game at Duke. Coach, if you'd like to start us off with some comments before we open up for questions.
Yep. Appreciate you guys coming out. Usually the reflection and clarity right after a game and dissecting what happened in real time ended up being very accurate for what happened Saturday. 2 turnovers right out of the gate. Going into the game, we were 45-0 in the positive off of turnovers off of fourth down stops. Saturday, we were 0-21 in the negative off of turnovers and fourth down stops. So that was a big part of the game. Got us behind early. I don't think we responded the right way defensively. We've talked about that at length, about the response and all of those things. Offensively, Geoff, even though he started out with 2 picks, came back the most passing yards by Georgia Tech quarterback in 20 years. First 300-yard passing game since '07. And I thought he responded the right way at a high level. But the turnovers early hurt us, and not forcing turnovers, which is a hallmark of our defense, was something we've addressed, and the guys are understand that and are committed to it. Penalties, even though we're still on the low end, penalties, the ones we did have were critical. 2 were touchdowns that were called back. 1 was a 3rd and 1 on the 1, and 1 was a 3rd down stop defensively that ended up being a PI, and then it goes for 7 after that. So 4 penalties. We had 5 total, but 4 of them had a direct result, and probably 21-point swing there too. And then red zone has been a big topic for us. Been off season, through the season, bowing up in the red zone. We did not Saturday, and then scoring when we got our chances, and we were 50% on Saturday. So obviously we have to do much better. Can't afford turnovers, penalties, all those things against what is now, I guess, the second-ranked offense in the country. A lot of credit to Pitt. I think that quarterback is the real deal. He's a really good player. And, we just got to do better, and we'll do better. For us, Jahmyr Gibbs was the offensive player of the week internally for us. Most receiving yards by a running back since 1970. And when I read that from Mike Flynn, I felt very old. Really proud of Jahmyr, how he plays the game, how talented he is. Defensively, Ace Ely, and not just for the impact that he has playing the position, but who he is as a leader in this program, trying to keep everything together against a great offense when things weren't going our way. And then special teams-wise, Nate McCullum did a tremendous job. Kyrick McGowan was out the whole game, and Nate McCullum stepped in at the slot receiver position and did some really good things for us. But he was also flying down as a gunner on kickoff, flying down as a gunner on punt. Nate McCullum's a really good player in our program. Got some burn at the slot receiver, but playing on special teams at a high level too. And then my guy. And then just another big challenge going up to Duke, another big-time offense, another one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and the running back is really, really good. Or actually both running backs that they play are both really, really good. And so we've got a work cut out for us. They are very high tempo, and then they're very challenging on defense with multiple fronts, multiple looks and blitzes, and play aggressive coverage on the back end as well. So.
Okay, questions? Please raise your hand. Got a microphone. We'll start here with Brett.
Thank you. Geoff, what do you feel the team needs to do to be more consistent and maybe start putting a winning streak together?
Yeah, and that's obviously the team that rolled out there for the previous 3 weeks can play with anybody. The performance that our guys put together versus North Carolina, the grit, fight, toughness on the road against the 5th-ranked team in the country, and the week before playing a complete game prior to that. We just didn't show that on Saturday. They had a good week of prep. but just some adversity set in very, very early in the game, and uncharacteristically, we didn't respond to that challenge once we fell down early. Had some internal things that happened and some busted coverages and got flustered and all those kind of things. But it's a really good football team that we have. That we've just got to learn from it against what I consider Pitt a really good team as well. They got us. We didn't play our best. We did some uncharacteristic things to hurt us, hurt ourselves. They capitalized on them. But that in that locker room is still a really good football team. We've got really good players, really good leadership, and they've responded the right way. But another challenge is Duke's going to have some really good plays. They've got really good players. How do you handle adversity when things don't go your way at whatever point during the game? We didn't handle that challenge properly against Pitt.
Kelly?
Geoff, obviously, one of the big things you were rebuilding when you got here was offensive line, and you've had basically one class that's had a year of strength and conditioning, and that got tested on Saturday when you were down 3 guys at one point. Just how do you kind of deal with that moving forward as injuries crop up there, because you guys are still real thin?
Yeah, and that's the thing that's a big challenge. I thought our offensive line was playing at a really high level, doing some really good things. We knew we had built a lot of depth. Going into preseason camp was one of our deepest positions, and that's being tested right now. Just guys have to step up. They've done a good job with that. But just the lineups that were happening against Pitt, has a really good D-line now. Historically, they've had one of the best defensive fronts in the league. So just guys gotta step up and contribute at a high level, and that'll be tested again this week with Duke's front again. But I've got full confidence in Coach Key, full confidence in the leadership in that room, the position flexibility that Coach Key does with those guys. We had to do that on Saturday, and we'll probably have to do similar things as we progress through this stretch, getting guys back hopefully throughout the bye week and things like that.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you about 2 fourth down plays from Saturday.
Okay.
One, the third down when Jeff Scramble got hurt, had to come out, and obviously it's kind of a chaotic situation, and just the play call to go into the line, to run during the line, given that there's a lot more. I'm sure there's a lot that's gone in the decision, but to run into the line when Pitt was having such success defending the run, I was curious about that. And then second, the 4th and 4 near the end of the third quarter, you were in your own end and chose to punt, and obviously at that point it becomes a question of possessions and so forth. And kind of what went in the thinking of deciding to punt versus trying to go for it?
That's a lot of questions there, kid. I appreciate you having that much faith in me, buddy, with all of that. But all of those things. So we go throughout the week of prep, putting our plan together, understanding what they do. It's a high game of chess, not checkers, and understanding there's complementary things to what you're doing, and then there's answers to what they're going to do, based on film and based on setting up plays. And so we executed our plan. It didn't work out. Give credit to Pitt. They've got really good players. They've got a good scheme as well. The one middle of the 4th, I don't know if this is the one you're asking about, but there was a situation that it was 4th and 1. We knew we were going to go for it if we didn't get the third down conversion. And that's where having someone like Kyrick with the experience that he has, it was a fastball play. We've got a young guy that's never been in that situation before. We were calling the fastball play. He was trying to run off. He's not supposed to run off. The referees, the officials held it because it looked like we were going to sub. And then they've got time to settle down and they get the stop. So it's obviously a learning experience for young players, but that's one of them that obviously is a learning experience. You hate to learn in real time, in real situations, in real ACC games or in games in general. But the young players at that position will be stronger for it and understanding the situation for everybody. And there were some guys in there that is kind of their first time playing this year as well. Just understand this is 4th and 1. We got to get this yard, and we didn't get it. Sure, absolutely.
It was the 4th and 4 when you punted at the end of the third quarter. You were like inside your 30, and so it just kind of
So we were actually, during that stretch, had started playing some good defense. We had started figuring them out. The adjustments were clicking. Get a stop, punt, get a stop. You still got time to get a couple more possessions in there. We weren't in. We've got a book. So the book, I don't want to give too much away, but the book has and you'll see Pat Boyle carrying it on the sideline. It's about this thick. It has every time on the clock, every situation, every 4th down and go from every field position based on all the metrics and all the analytics that we have at our disposal. And so we rely on that a lot of the time, most of the time. Sometimes they're gut, but that one is they do green, yellow, red. Green, that's a mandate. Red, that's a mandate. Yellow, it's feel. But in that situation, it was punt in that situation based on the data and the metrics.
Anthony?
Obviously, you alluded to quarterback Sims throwing the 2 interceptions was 2 turnovers in the game. But I'm just curious to know, when you have a young quarterback like that who's finally playing his full game as a starter and he has those 2 turnovers early, what is the conversation between you and the quarterback just early on in that game just to keep you guys?
Yeah, so, and I thought Dave Patnode, Jordan Yates, Trad Beatty, and Jeff, they've got a really good thing going in that room. But if you just turn on the first pass of the game, I mean, it was the exact play we had drawn up, the exact coverage we wanted. It was wired for Nate McCullum to score a touchdown. Kid runs a late twist. There's a huge A-gap. Jeff steps in and delivers it. Kid comes around late on the twist, gets his hand up. He's a good player too. And that ended up being a pick for us. But it was wired. It was ready to go for a touchdown. Didn't happen. Credit to Pitt for making a good play. But just the confidence and faith that we have in Jeff, stuck with him, and he had a very productive game. And I know him as a leader in this program, and he's awesome. Wants to make sure that's we're not just moving the ball, we're scoring points and all those kind of things. And I think him and Jordan and those guys have done a great job with the team in our 2 days of prep since Saturday.
Defensively, you always go into games trying to stop the run.
Yep.
Against Duke, that's going to be a pretty big challenge with their running back.
They're really good. Their offensive line, it caters to what they do. They're really good at it. The running back 21 reminds me a lot of Jameer, and I think everybody in this room understands how highly I think of Jameer, how we think of Jameer as an organization, and I think that kid's a really good player. He's dynamic with the ball in his hands. He reads it very well. Number 7's a really good player also, and they do a nice job catching the football out of the backfield as well. And then they've incorporated this year more than in years past the quarterback run game, and they roll in number 12. They roll in number 8, who can have really good accuracy. They throw a nice deep ball, but they can hurt you with their legs as well. And so we've got our work cut out for us. And then you add the layers of the tempo, and then receivers. This is the tallest group of receivers we faced. So we've got to know where certain guys are on every single play.
Kelly?
I was just curious, going back a little bit to the Pitt game, in terms of the secondary, that obviously a specialty of yours. I'm just curious what you saw in terms of the coverage breakdowns and anything specific that caught your eye.
Yeah, there is, and we've spoken at links with our guys, and again, the leadership in that group has done a nice job correcting their mistakes on their own, and with the coaching from us as well. They understand the flaws that were inherent in what happened on Saturday, but I don't want to take away from how good Pitt is, and I don't want to take away how good that quarterback is, the receivers, them having time with that offensive line, but we've got to get better, and just some things that we did not handle well once the game started going the wrong way, trying to press, trying to do too much, trying to have overlap that's not your job, those kind of things we've pointed out at length to the guys, and we've got great players that really care a lot and understand what they need to do not to put us in that situation again.
Got time for a few more. We'll start back here with Coach.
Coach, you mentioned it a couple of times that you have a good team in that locker room. Is that just kind of part of the mentality that you're trying to continue to push on your guys so they continue to push and so they can, I guess, now it's trying to face some adversity again, bounce back?
Well, I think the biggest piece is the team that rolled out there for 3 straight weeks. One of them, not a moral victory, but played significantly better than we have in the past. Handling adversity, just continue to fight and compete and battle down the line. Did that at a very high level and then let go of the rope against a really good team, and you can't do that. All the things that we preach, all the things that we believe in our program and our culture weren't realized against a really good team. And when you do that, you're sitting in this situation. And so the challenge was to the guys is you beat a top 20 team in Mercedes-Benz Stadium playing a certain way, play that way every single week. I don't think we did that. I think I won't bring it up in here, but I pointed out every single thing with our team that we did versus UNC, that we did the previous weeks, that we didn't necessarily do this week, and it cost us. And so they understand it. They're committed to it. We've got a great group of guys that I'm blessed to coach, and we just got to get better and put some things together.
Finish up. We'll start with Kelly and then with Rams.
Geoff, the rushing production from the running backs is probably not where you would like to see it, especially with the talent you have there. Just kind of, is there anything you put your finger on, kind of why those guys haven't maybe been able to get going the way you would like in the run game?
Well, I mean, you've talked about it specifically in here earlier, but I think out of the backfield, the things that we had wired, that defense we played Saturday, they completely load the box, pressure a lot, leave guys on islands. I thought Geoff found the receivers that were on islands, found Jameer out of the backfield. The things that you need to do against what they do, we did. So it's one of those things that obviously we want to run the ball, but you also have to take what teams are giving. A lot of those pass plays that Geoff had were called runs, but the extension of the run game are the hitches, are the rollovers, are the glances. So we were calling runs, and the force protectors that we have built in layers in our offense, Geoff saw them, Geoff threw them, and completed them. So even though the passing yards are as high as they are, a lot of those were just extensions of our run game and built into our package as force protectors. So.
Just for the record, I'm not a meteorologist when I ask this question. But, of course, it's supposed to rain this whole week,
Yep.
and it's a high probability it's supposed to rain Saturday when you
Yep.
play in Durham.
Yep.
My question is, of course, how much of emphasis is it going to be able to run the football? And how much does it affect the game plan? in general?
And I'm glad you asked. The other piece of that is it was raining yesterday, and we've got a nice indoor, the Brock Indoor practice facility. It's awesome. We went out there in Bobby Dodd and practiced in the rain. Today, we went. Our plan always is to go to the indoor. We did half the periods in the indoor, half the periods outdoors. Tomorrow, it's supposed to be 80 to 100% chance of rain here. We'll be out in Bobby Dodd as long as there's not lightning. If there's lightning, that's not safe. But if there is no lightning, we'll be out in Bobby Dodd practicing in those conditions. During preseason camp, anytime there's rain, not lightning, we'll make sure we get out there and practice in it so we understand those things. But, yes, the run the ball is always a priority in what we do. We've got a big physical offensive line now, and we've got an elite core of running backs. So that's always a point of emphasis every single week.